Hi, this is Frank Rodriguez Villela, and I want to welcome you to our first lesson, and it's in the series entitled So You Think You Want to Play Guitar. I'm actually going to demonstrate and show and try to explain as best as I can the three different models that I like as far as instruments to learn and how to play guitar. I do like to play electric. I love electric, except electric to practice and to do all these things, it's just a little more work. You need an amplifier, your chords. Usually, to be in good position, you have to usually have a strap, sort of like how you perform. So I feel the acoustic guitar is probably a little bit better to use. An acoustic guitar basically is an instrument that doesn't need an amplifier, which is sort of nice. You know, you can play it, take it around anywhere, and get some good sounds out of it. So I'm going to go with three different models, technically four, just to explain. This is an option that people like to use, but this is first. I'll start with the classical guitar. Classical guitar is basically a nylon string guitar, and nylon means that the strings are actually made of nylon. There's a sort of a plastic threads that make these particular strings. They're very easy to play. All the strings are nylon, actually. On guitar, you have the smallest string is one. It's here. It's the highest note. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Throw out a tune. Sorry about that. But it's basically has all of these are nylon. They're sort of a man-made plastic type of synthetic material. But so are these, the low strings. Lots of times people say, oh, well, you have steel string on top. But actually, that's not true. It's a soft metal, which is not steel. It's just a soft metal, sort of a silver-plated metal. And inside the string, they're cores, and the core is actually a bunch of threads of nylon string. So it's really no different than the material that's used for this one. So consequently, it's an easier string to practice with or play with or to learn with. So it's just easier on your fingers. The tension is probably a little less, or about the same, but you just don't feel the same kind of, I guess, pressure that you feel from steel strings. Steel strings are definitely just a little bit, a little tougher on your fingers. Still pretty easy, but you'll feel the steel string on the tips right away within 15-20 minutes of practicing. So I like the nylon strings. This is a classical 4x4, they call them. Standard is really on a guitar when we call standard. It's the distance between the nut, which is just the nut here of the guitar, and then this is the bridge. And the bridge, they have basically a measurement that goes from the nut to the bridge, and it's 650 millimeters. That's how they sort of they constructed guitars, lots of times using millimeters. I'm sure there's a inch conversion, but 650 millimeter is what usually is considered standard. And again, it's a 4x4. I like this particular model. I like the body. I like the way it actually, when you play it, it sits comfortably on your body. So that's always the number one thing, is the actual, the way the instrument feels and lies on your body. If for some reason, it also depends on the chair that you're sitting on. If for some reason you need to have it raised up, you can use these nice little footrests, and the footrest will elevate the guitar to the position that you need to have to play. I call it a comfortable, practical position, and for one reason, probably more so than anything. You can put it on the right, or you can put it on the left. And the reasoning of the positioning is so you can really put this right hand and comfortably on the instrument, so you can make the motion using your wrist. Lots of times people, unfortunately, clamp onto here or clamp onto there. But if you have a good instrument that's in good position and it feels comfortable and it's basically where you need it to, I think this is sort of funny. I think the actual O, or not the O, but the sound hole here, this is the sound hole, sort of in the center of your body, sort of a nice place to put it. And then what I do is I always like to position. This is the key thing about positioning, is that the arm is back here, and then when you play, that you use this motion, which is a more of a wrist motion. I have other videos where I show practicing my little soprano guitars and stuff like that, or the smaller instruments. But it's the positioning and having the right instrument is where you can sort of get that motion. So all of these instruments are sort of, I sort of pick them because I like how this lower bow, this is the lower bow of the instrument. When I place my arm, I can create that position. And the positioning is really just an arc. I don't know if you can see it, it's an arc. And the arc here is what helps to strike the strings and to use that wrist motion. But to achieve that, it needs to be back here. So that's why positioning is, I'm a real stickler for that. It's nice for it to be in good position, and it needs to be properly, lying on your body so you can create that motion. So this is a classical 4x4, all nylon strings. Everything's nylon on this one, and it's one of my first choices. I really like this instrument. I think it's one of the better and easier, inexpensive. You can probably pick one up for about $150, something like that. And then I have, second one is the steel string. The steel string is what I really like also. This is the actual orchestra model. It's a lot like the classical, except it's a little taller. It's a little taller from the way it lies here to here. Same thing, around 650 from here to here, from nut to the bridge. And it's probably maybe just a little thinner, not much, just a tiny bit thinner as far as the body. But it has the same feel. You can put your arm on the lower bow and strum. This has a different sound. It's brighter. It's more for, all kind of popular music, country music. You hear that. So it's sort of cool. It's really nice to have this particular instrument. Steel, again, these are all steel now. So all the steel strings here are definitely, I mean, it's easy to play. There's no problem with actually getting the sound out of it. But since it is steel, your fingertips will feel probably a little more discomfort in the beginning. You'll develop your calluses. So you'll develop the calluses after a while, which means you just it's hardening the tips of the finger, but it'll start feeling comfortable as you progress and as you play. So the steel string, again, the difference between this guitar and the standard classical is that the neck, and this is the neck of the instrument, the neck is just a little smaller, so it's a little easier to get around. This one, by contrast, is just a lot thicker. I don't know if you can really tell by the video there, but it's a wider neck, sort of like a baseball bat type of thing. The end of a bit, where the ball hits the bat. So these are definitely thinner. The thinner neck feels great, feels a lot easier, more similar to an electric guitar. So like these, same thing. It's you can use it, and this I don't feel I need the footrest. You can actually just have it this way and play this way or play this way, whatever feels comfortable, as long as you can get that position on the right hand. Okay, so this is an orchestra, and you can, later on too, if you just want to strap them on, you can put little strap buttons here and obviously a strap button here, and put a strap on. I'll demonstrate that on my optional guitar. This is and next guitar that I like is the Dreadnought guitar. The Dreadnought guitars are a little bit bigger. It's a nice instrument for actually, taking out, campfire type of guitar, a little hootenanny guitar. Definitely it's a bigger sound. The body is a bigger body on the actual, or sound hole. The sound hole is here. This is the soundboard. So the soundboard is bigger, but you actually almost don't need anything at all. This just sort of lies on your body really comfortably. It just creates more sound just because the soundboard is bigger. It is, some people don't like it, especially if you're a little shorter, smaller person. This is a bigger guitar, so lots of times the cats that are a little bit bigger, a little taller, 6', 6'1", 6'2". They like this instrument, and it's just because it's just a bigger instrument to handle. The back of the section here, the bow, is really taller and wider. So, but it creates again that positioning that we need for strumming and using our wrist. The wrist is a very important part. Okay, now the last, it's just an option that I really like, and lots of people end up using this a bit. And I think it's mainly because it has, it's just easier to play. This particular guitar is meant more for 10, 11, 12-year-old kids, for middle school, elementary school type of instrument, or students. These particular, since if you're an adult and you choose a smaller instrument, then you'll need the strap. The strap will put this instrument in the position it needs to be for playing. So you really, on smaller instruments, just like my little soprano, you'll need a strap for it. Okay, so the strap is very important to have it in position. Smaller instruments they're just gonna be smaller on your body. So I think a strap is really nice. Again, it's sort of optional. You can still sort of basically get a footrest and use a footrest, and you can elevate the guitar that way. But this is also a classical guitar. It's considered a 3/4 size guitar. It's easier to play as far as neck is concerned. So this neck here, which is the back, the neck, is very equivalent to the Dreadnought or the Orchestra. Okay, it has almost the same feel and the same width. So if you're going to play electric guitar later, you're already going to be used to this kind of small neck. So I recommend these instruments because they're not easy to carry, easy to tote around, throw in the back of your car, and you can do the same thing. You can basically always, you can use a pick, you can use your fingers, but having the strap and being in this position, you can utilize all the good technique, and the good technique is wrist. I feel that when we start there, you can have a little more control over everything: volume, sound, speed, all that. And it's just good to start there. It's not the only way to play, but it's a good place to start. Once you develop that, it's really awesome. And the only way to create that is a good position instrument. So the instrument is important as far as how we're going to position it and how we're going to, and it's never holding. I never say holding. You're basically always going to position the instrument. So these are the instruments that I like, the choice, or the three that you can choose from: standard classical, 4x4, 650 millimeters on the nut to the bridge. And then orchestra is the same, it's just a little taller instrument. Steel string, very nice. These instruments, basically orchestra, is a predecessor to a lot of the other instruments that people manufacture now. A higher end instrument, but they started from this basic model, and then from here they do different things like make them electric. They do cutaways from these. Sometimes they call them folk guitars, small folk guitars. That's another name for them. But I really love them. And Dreadnought is a really great guitar. And I'll go ahead and put it on the bottom of this particular lesson, the actual name of the instruments, and probably a place you can get them. I have here in Houston. I'm in Houston, Texas, and so I'll put a link to somebody that has always a nice supply of these. So basically that's it. This is the instruments that I sort of like using to start your lesson. And then you can just, again, you can use electric. There's nothing wrong with that. It would just probably always have to be strapped up and in a good form and good position on your body. So I hope this helps. It's just the beginning of the lessons, but you got to know exactly what you're shooting for as far as sound on the instrument, and because those instruments will actually, steel string will create that sound, which is a brighter sound, as opposed to the classical, which would be more, it's a little duller. Some people call it a little more mid-rangey, or some people will call it sweeter sound. But it's two different sounds, but you can start here and then later on progress to steel string. Just whatever, however you feel and how much you want to work at it. So, all right, well, thank you so much. And remember to share this with your friends. And I guess if you, subscribe, all that good stuff. Subscribe, like, and ring that bell. I guess that's how it works. All right, well, thank you so much, and hope to see you for second lesson, which will be strumming and actually using the right hand. All right, thank you so much.